Nebraska on Tap, the source for everything educational and informational about groundwater in agriculture. If you are an ag producer or a citizen of Nebraska, this show is made for you by the Middle Republican Natural Resource District.
Now it's time for our weekly show, hosted by Heather Dizmang.
Yes, hello everybody. I am so glad that you are here with us today. So we are going to take you through a little backtrack of what we have been up to. So we had McCrometer, Seim Ag, and we had Alex and Sylvia and Jack, myself and Chris out in the field the other day. We were doing some fun work with the Central Platte NRD. They had their assistant manager down here and their communications assistant down here. And we filmed some stuff for McCrometer, so it was great. We really got a fun interaction with the whole McCrometer crew. They came in, they were so nice to us, and they put up with our shenanigans, so it was great. So we had Benjie Loomis, who is a member of our NRD board. He's also a producer and a Pioneer Seed salesman. And then just to spice things up, we brought another Pioneer Seed salesman in, Lorn Dizmang, who's also a producer and works for Dizmang Ag there. And then we had Pete from McCrometer. He is the president of McCrometer. So it was great to have him in-house talking with these two awesome producers that have really been a great partnership with us when it has been coming to rolling out these telemetry meters. So it's been great for that. So we'll get to that interview in a little bit. I'm going to bring Jack Russell in. He is the general manager here at the Middle Republican NRD, and I'm just going to have him give you a little synopsis of what everything meant to him the other day when we were out in the field doing these recordings for McCrometer and just interacting with the team and stuff. Like I said, it was a great day, minus the sunburn on my back. I really should have wore the SPF that day right there, but I totally forgot it. So I am going to remember this day for a while until my sunburn heals. So let's get in and let's talk to Jack here and let's see how he felt about everything. All right, Jack. So it took a lot of planning on your part to get everybody here today. So we had Pete, Jessica, Ken Quant. We also had Seim Ag, and we also had Heath, which is doing our app. So tell me a little bit about what that took to get everybody involved and here at the same day.
Well, I think to actually get that covered, you almost have to step back. That's when all of this first got started. And when it first got started, there was the Middle Republican NRD staff and McCrometer just grabbing a hold of this ball and trying to run with it. And one of the main things that we wanted to do was to not make it a research project or not make it a one-time thing or just to see if it's going to work. We, with our history, we knew what was going to work. So when we decided we wanted to do this, we had to go through and try to make it work for everybody in the district, not just for a handful of people. You're going to probably listen to or you're going to interview a couple farmers here later, or maybe already have, and you're going to hear how it affects them. I think everybody needs to keep in mind this affects everybody in the district because everybody in the district is going to have this information. They're going to have access to the dashboard that Longitude 103 is putting together for us. They're going to have the benefit of the technology the McCrometer helped put together through Seim Ag. It's all going to be installed correctly. All the data is going to be right. It's a direction everybody should be going. We've seen it that way in other agriculture. It needs to be there with water management as well. And not just a one and done, oh, look at what we could do. It's what we are doing. And so when you look at it in that aspect, it wasn't that difficult to get everybody here because everybody that was here was excited. Everybody that was here wanted to be here to see where we're at, because since we're getting so close to getting the whole district covered, everybody sees excitement. Everybody was pretty excited that was here to see a finished product and to see where it can go and the impact it can have on water management in the Middle Republican NRD.
Right. And with that SMART grant that the Middle Republican received, I know it took a lot of hard work on everybody's part here to make sure that happened for us. And Ken came back in, for us to install these meters, and the networking and the teamwork that he has with us, how how has that been an inspiration for you on making sure that these things will get done?
Well, there's two Kens we can talk about.
Okay.
There's Ken Seim of Seim Ag that actually does installation of the meters. And then there's Ken Quant, who works with McCrometer. And Ken Quant was integral in working with our staff here in the Middle Republican to put Water Smart grants together. He helped us get all 3 of our Water Smart grants. And without all 3 of our Water Smart grants, we may still be floundering trying to see how are we going to get the next 100 done, instead of now we're at that point where how are we going to get the last 500 or 600 done. And Ken Seim with Seim Ag, he is so professional and so exact with making sure everything's put in according to what the specifications are, that we are certifying every one of our wells are plus or minus 1%. And everything has been rolling along really great. If we've had problems or concerns, Ken Seim has stepped up to the plate and come out and helped us. McCrometer has actually come out from California 2 or 3 times to address concerns that we had, and everything has been addressed to the point where we are so confident moving ahead and hoping that everybody else can catch on to how well this works.
Right. And it's something that you and Sylvia have been really planning for about a year or so now, right? Or 2 years? Longer than that?
Well, the projects have been going on for between 3 and 4 years. And before that, we had done a couple of water sustainability high-tech programs. And that's where we caught on to where this actually works. Everybody that we worked with said it works. And we have 2,800 meters or 2,800 wells in the district. It's like, well, how would we not want this to work everywhere? But Sylvia actually picked the ball up and run with the high-tech systems that we did. And then when we decided to move ahead with this, that's where we started pulling McCrometer more into it. Seim Ag stepped up more, staff stepped up more, producers stepped up more, and we started actually working with Alex again in the office, has helped us put a lot of justification, a lot of data showing the successes that there are out there.
Right. And I did do an interview with Benjie before I talked to you, and he did talk about like how dry last year was. I mean, and I wasn't here last year to experience that with you guys, but I mean, compared to what I've seen in pictures of the pastures and from, the data from how much corn was actually harvested to now where we've had some more rain, these are definitely beneficial, the meters.
The meters are beneficial, but also the way the Middle Republican and all 3 of the Republican NRDs set their allocations on a 5-year allocation. So you have, like in the Middle Republican, we have 12 inches a year for 5 years, which is 60 inches over the 5 years, plus 12 inches carry forward if they have enough to carry forward. So when you have a drought like last year and maybe you use 17 or 18 inches, it's real critical to save as much as you can during a drought, but also when you have a lot of water and a lot of rain, to save as much as you can then to save up for the drought. So it's basically a built-in drought management plan for each one of these producers. And it's critical for them to know how much water they're putting on. Without the meters, without the dashboard we're working on, for them to have real-time data in their hands to know what they're putting on and be as efficient as they can, you may have somebody that runs out of water after 4 years, and that 5th year they're not going to be able to irrigate. Putting these kind of tools in their hands are going to help them be able to irrigate, hopefully for the next 400 or 500 years. That's what the goal we have here is, to make sure that we are sustaining a water source that's going to last here forever, basically.
Yeah, I think that's great information. So let's get into that interview with the producers and see how they feel about everything that's been going on.
Benjie Loomis. I do as little as possible, but I'm a kind of semi-retired farmer and a director on the Middle Republican NRD board.
Okay, perfect.
Hi, my name's Lorn Dizmang. I'm a full-time farmer.
Hi, my name is Pete Ovison. I'm the president of McCrometer. We're a flow meter manufacturer.
Okay, perfect, guys. So, reason we're being here today was just talk a little bit about your telemetry meters that Benjie start, on the board side, and then Lorn, from the farmer side, and then Pete is going to know from the manufacturing and company side. So, Lorn, if you kind of wanted to start out telling us about how the telemetry meters have kind of helped you out with your water usage versus, using the, the older ones that we once had, how your accuracy's been up.
The accuracy is very, very good consistent. The nice thing about it is I can calibrate my pivots so much better because I know the flow going to the pivot. And so with I use FieldNet, then I can go in there and set up the gallons so I'm correct on the amount of usage or the amount of water that I put out on the field there in one trip around. So I'm correct, and then also too it keeps track of your acre inches, and enter it correctly, then you know exactly where you're at in your water usages.
And that's kind of what you guys developed these for, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we really wanted farmers and NRDs like the Middle Republican NRD to get a better handle on their water usage, whether it, like what Lauren just mentioned, even calibrating a pivot, it's something that is really helpful, or you can expand the impact more broadly to, really managing the entire NRD and water allocations across the basin. So it really all starts with the accuracy of the meter and the ability to transfer that data to a centralized location.
And then Benjie, as an NRD board member, like with compact call and stuff like that, how do you feel these meters are going to benefit you when it comes to, answering to the big NRD and Department of Energy and Environment?
Well, everything we found so far is it's more accurate, and it probably saves us a lot more water than we realize. As far as the NRD, it's going to help us meet compact compliance and help farmers be more efficient with what they do have. Because you know how it is. You take last year, for example, we had no rainfall last year, and there was so much water usage. And that on years like that, it's more crucial than ever. But even on a year like this year with the rainfall we've had, where we can monitor a lot better on when we do need to water and how much, it's just amazing how much these new meters have helped our district. And I couldn't be happier being part of anything as I am this.
To having that accuracy, for this next 5 years, how do you feel like that's going to help you out when it comes to monitoring your water usage?
Well, the water is a very valuable resource, and so we got to do the best to protect our resources. And with these meters and better ability to monitor everything with accuracy, that we can do a more viable job of putting moisture where it actually benefits us and also benefits the basin too, as partners.
Yeah, part of the history of McCrometer is, as you mentioned, we were founded in 1955. And really founded with the goal of helping farmers manage their water, and that's what we've been been a central part of our company for since 1955. We've been an integral part of a lot of the water management programs and regulatory compliance programs in California. Obviously, Nebraska is also a leader in that, in those types of programs, and we're just really excited and honored to be part of these really impressive programs that are, as Benjie mentioned earlier, they're just saving a lot of water, and they're really going to have a pretty significant impact on just our ability to continue doing what we love, which is helping farmers grow and produce crops.
And that's part of our job anyway, is to make farmers more efficient with what they have to use, because it is limited. But we have to protect this water resource, because water is the lifeblood of this area, this whole state. And there's areas that are getting really short, but we need to protect that for the future generations, because without it, this will turn into a dust bowl. It just won't work. So that's one of the main things that I'm really excited about with this project, with the new telemetry meters, is that what it's going to do for us down the road, even yet to come. And farmers are going to be able to go online and pick up their phone, whatever they want to do, and tell what it's pumping, when it's pumping, and everything that it's doing, right at their fingertips.
From your app, right, Lorn?
I do a lot of things from the app, and that's one thing that I can do is access. And if you are diligent to keep track of your starting numbers, you can keep track of your usage throughout the year. It's a real simple process because everything's factored back to acre inches, so it's real simple to divide it by the acres, and you know what you've done. So it's a pretty neat system.
Be passing out penalties anymore, right?
No. Well, and it's kind of a coincidence, but Lauren and I are both Pioneer sales reps.
Yes.
And the technology that's come through that, water savings, I mean, hybrids are more, they're tougher. They'll get by on less moisture. And at the same time, if we can save farmers money for pump, because every time that well's running, it's costing them money. And so any time that the well's off, it's a blessing.
Yeah, how do you feel about that, Mr. Pioneer Man over here?
It is very beneficial to us as a producer and to the customer base, and just being able to supply food and fuel for our economy.
You know, with you guys both being seed salesmen, you know, increasing the crop yields and stuff like that, does it help you when you monitor your water better? Does it help you figure out what your crop might need depending on what you plant? You know, like let's say you know, so for instance, corn probably takes a little bit more water than, you know, cane, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then wheat probably takes a little. Where does wheat fall in that line?
Yeah, the agronomy side of it comes into play there then, and there's farmers today aren't just farmers. They know lots of different intricate details of what they need to do at certain times, and they know they have to be more efficient too. And
When it comes down to crunching numbers and stuff like that, when it comes to it, Lauren, you or Benjie can answer this. Do you notice that people purchase different seed and stuff like that based on how much water they're able to use, whether it's dry land or irrigated or?
Yeah, you'll see a lot of difference because you have some of the areas around here where the water's tighter, and so they don't have the bigger wells to supply all the moisture that plant could need at a certain specific time. So they'll work with different maturities versus, and you have different needs. Guys with silage will run a longer season hybrid looking for the tons, and so your water usages just kind of bounce around to the customer's needs and what they're looking out of that product.
Mm-hmm. And then just going back to kind of like chemigation, so we did the chemigation class together with these telemetry meters and stuff like that and their accuracy. How do you feel that helps you with fertigation?
oh, it helps immensely. You know exactly the gallons per minute that is going through that pipe when you're looking at that meter, and you can rely on it to be accurate. And all you have to do is some calculations from there, as you know, as to where to set your pumps and how it be based on the amount of water and the speed it's going and the acres that it's covering per hour, and do your calculations from there. And you can, chemigation is another thing that goes along with the water resource, and you can time your fertility, especially in sandier, lighter soils that won't hold it. But even in the heavier too, you can time your fertilizer applications with the water also. And it's just, like I say, farmers are more than just farmers anymore.
Yeah, for sure. And then knowing that about for the chemigation and stuff like that, when you guys made these meters, did you think about that as well when it came to fertilizing and chemicals?
Yeah, our primary objective is flow monitoring. I mean, that's our main focus, but we definitely recognize the interaction that flow has with chemigation and all of the other elements that farmers here actually deal with. So we want to make sure that everyone has access to flow data that they can use, and then basically use that to compare against other soil moisture or other types of data sets so they can make the most informed decisions possible.
And on that same note, the accuracy of the meters so crucial, because there's times when you want to put on a certain amount of water with a certain chemical to get the best effect, like for insects if you do some of that, or just a quick fertility application. So the meters being so accurate helps a great deal with that. If you need a quarter of an inch, or if you need 40 hundredths, or whatever you need, it's a lot easier to figure that way.
Yeah, I'll just maybe just one last thing. As you look at what Middle Republican has been able to accomplish with this program, and just a lot of the successes that folks here have already started to see, and then basically the bigger vision here of the NRD, it's really inspiring, and I hope that it really becomes a model for other NRDs and other irrigation districts. More broadly, even outside of Nebraska, that it is possible to get a handle on water usage, and to really start comparing that against allocations more accurately and more scientifically than maybe has historically been done. And then basically you can take that information and run and manage farms better. And so that's our vision, and we're going to continue to innovate and to work with farmers in order to help people accomplish that goal.
Yeah, and I one more thing on that. We've talked about that many times here at board meetings and stuff too, but as a director, I feel so privileged to be here and be part of this, because this is all new. It's land breaking, and I think right now, our NRD is probably one of the leaders in that, and we're probably the envy of a lot of other districts. And I've really got to praise our staff for getting this started, and a board that let them do it. So,
once again, I'd like to thank Pete Oveson from McCrometer, Benjie Loomis, part of our NRD board and producer, and Lorn Dizmang, a producer here in the area, for coming onto the show and letting everybody know a little bit about how they felt on the new meters that they have installed and how it is effective for them when it comes to their farming practices. And as always, you guys can find us on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find a visual representation of this podcast on YouTube. We also will have some other videos on YouTube as well that are educational. And so go ahead and look over there, like and subscribe, and we will talk to you folks all later. Have a great week. Bye-bye.